Long before the first equation was scratched into the earth, the universe functioned as a vast, silent mechanism. It was a functioning void, completely unobserved. Intelligence emerged when that silence was broken by a specific type of attention. True curiosity begins with the refusal to stop at the first available assumption. To turn that curiosity into something useful, we needed to hold on to what we saw. We developed memory as a selected trace of the past, a way to carry a moment forward so it could be used for a later purpose. But a single, isolated memory is just a static record. Usefulness requires comparison. We began placing these traces side by side to identify the repetitions, differences, and patterns that occur over time. This was the pivot. We stopped merely reacting to the world and started connecting these observations to decipher the rules of the environment itself. Eventually, the sheer volume of experience becomes a burden.
Raw memory is too dense and chaotic to hold every individual fact without the mind losing sight of the structure. When memory overflows, the mind seeks a way to organize the flood. Mathematics emerged as a language for this organization, to describe relationships and structures hidden within the noise. This process relies on notation as compression. Symbols act as containers, allowing us to represent massive information in a compact form. This compression allows the mind to pivot from recording the past to anticipating the future. We move from asking what happened to what follows. Because we can rarely be absolutely certain, we developed probability. This is the reasoning we use to navigate uncertainty, measuring the strength of our beliefs when the exact answer is hidden. By translating a chaotic reality into these structured symbols, we built a bridge. We gained the ability to move from simply enduring the present to actively designing a path through the unknown. These discovered patterns eventually moved from logic to labor. We began building physical and digital architecture designed to mirror the rules we had mapped out. We organize these rules into systems, sets of interacting elements where the combined behavior achieves a goal that no single part could reach alone. When a specific decision in that system becomes predictable, we can place it on a continuous loop. This is the root of automation, a crystallized human instruction running mechanically. Reliability here depends on strict criteria. A task is a candidate for automation only if it is rule-based, if it is highly repeated, with very low variation. The most advanced systems rely on the feedback loop. This is a process where the outcome of an action feeds back into the start, allowing the system to adjust based on its own results. This setup functions as a form of delegation. We hand the burden of execution to a system while maintaining the responsibility for the design. By delegating the predictable work to machines, we free human attention for the work that has no repeatable rules yet. As these feedback loops scale, they move from simple repetition to self-adjustment. When a system begins to modify its own internal rules based on a target, it enters the domain of artificial intelligence. This isn't a new form of logic. It is the same notation, compression, and probability we have always used, simply applied at an inhuman speed and volume. The machine processes millions of inputs, generates a prediction, and measures the gap from the truth. It automatically recalibrates its internal pathways to reduce error. This creates a functional model of understanding. A library stores information statically, but a machine processes it dynamically to predict. However, we must distinguish between processing and comprehension. A machine can be incredibly fast and fluent without possessing any lived experience of the meaning behind its output. Its speed creates an illusion. We see the accurate prediction and we assume wisdom, even though the machine is only calculating weights. This is why we separate capability from responsibility. No matter how accurate a machine's prediction appears, it remains a draft, not a decision. When outcomes are unpredictable and the stakes are high, we rely on judgment. This is what remains when data is thin and certainty is unavailable. A machine can optimize a process for efficiency with flawless precision, but only a human can decide if that process serves a meaningful purpose. We call this the last mile. It is the mandatory checkpoint where human context, care, and accountability are applied to the machine's work. The evolutionary chain ends exactly where it began, with the human mind. The ultimate triumph of intelligence is the person who employs the machine's speed while retaining the weight of the consequence.